Hi, and welcome to the Sacred Healers Collective. Today, we are having a discussion on conscious communication. Yay, fun stuff. This can be a really triggering concept for some people because we've actually been taught for a long time that the best way to deal with situations is to not clearly communicate upon them. And honestly, it's detrimental to relationships. It's detrimental to our lives. It's detrimental to our integrity. And it's detrimental to relationships in general. Wait, maybe I already said that, but the point is that really we need to begin building this tools in our toolbox to have greater levels of clear, conscious, sacred communication. So what does that even mean? How do we do that? And what are the ways that we can step forward in a better, more aligned, more integritous way when we're communicating with people, whether we care about them or not? So this is not just for people that you actually love and adore, right? It's not just for people like your partner or your children. It's not just for your friends. It's actually for everyone to the best of your ability. Because in order for us to really be able to have clear and conscious communication, it's a tool that we need to build up over time. It's a muscle that we need to practice continuously throughout our life. Many of us have been taught in this world, in this culture, in this society, to actually really just ghost people instead of communicating with them clearly because it feels easier, but also it's a way to keep us nitpicking at each other, right? So when we are in this world and we're engaging in our businesses, in our corporate areas, or when we're engaging at our healing spaces or with our friendship communities, this energy of kind of gossip and triangulation, basically talking about people behind their back, is something that has been really truly encouraged by the powers that be throughout the years. And so it's really a good thing for us to consciously decide to stop these patterns of essentially emotional abuse that we're putting upon other people. Is it difficult to have conversations with people when they've upset us, hurt our feelings, made us angry, made us sad, made us anxious, right? We have this feeling. That feeling's actually not about them, right? It's our feeling. And it's good and important to talk to people about how we feel in order for them to understand and get things out into the open, right? When we're not talking about how we feel or what's going on for us, it just piles up on top of each other, one thing after another, one thing after another. And it becomes this kind of pile of issues that layer time after time after time. But if we don't even talk about it with them, they'll never know, right? So if you have an issue with somebody, I really encourage you to attempt to come to them and have a communication with them. To really wait until you're in a calm space when you're feeling stable and healthy and taking a deep breath and just allowing yourself to state your feelings based on the situation. This is how we got to begin. We have to begin doing this, and it can take practice. It can be really difficult. And most of us are not trained to do that, right? We're trained to kind of put our heads in the sand, like, oh, that bothered me, but whatever, I'll deal with it later, or maybe never. And I don't believe that this is the best way for us to step forward as healers in this community. It's up to us to honestly and with integrity attempt to shift the paradigm so that we can hold the lantern for other people. People will never learn how to feel safe communicating their feelings if we're not doing it ourselves. So it's okay if we're upset. It's okay if we need space. And telling people our boundaries is important. Holding our boundaries is important. It's also important to speak your heart, to speak what you have an issue with, so that people in your community can understand what's going on for you. And so that you are healthier because you're not holding those things inside yourself. So I always think about, because I'm neurodivergent, I cannot always understand social cues. I just cannot. So people in my life, I tell them when I meet them, listen, I need you to communicate with me if you have a problem with something that I've done. And because most people are not taught how to do that from a young age, it's actually really difficult for people in general. It's difficult for me too. I wasn't taught how to have clear communication about my feelings. I was either very happy or very sad, very happy or very angry, right? And those were the only times I knew how to talk about what was going on with me. And really, there's a whole range in the middle that if we can learn how to speak on those different situations, then we can have a better relationship with the people that are in our life. We can have a better relationship with our clients, and we're not walking around carrying the weight of those situations with us all the time. When I'm not speaking on something that is happening for me in a relationship, I think about it all the time. It consumes my mind, my energy. It becomes this energy suck that is continually pulling from me more and more and more and more, right? And so by releasing that energy into the universe, by speaking it outward in a safe place with a safe person, that is the best way to really start stepping forward. And I believe that clear and conscious communication are actually a pebble in a pond type concept, right? If we don't begin to do this work ourselves with the relationships that we have in our lives, then it's not going to spread more and more. But the more that we do it, even if it's hard, even if it's messy, not perfect, the more that we do it, the more we're going to teach people in our lives how we like to be communicated with and how they may learn to communicate with other people. So I definitely don't recommend. So clear and conscious communication is not saying you did this, you're bad, you're wrong, blah, 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 and projecting on other people, right? So we want to keep clear and conscious communication about us and our feelings, our experience, and our boundaries and where we're at. And that's the beginning stage for it, right? Is understanding and acknowledging your feelings, your boundaries, and your experience. If you don't even know that, then you cannot communicate it to someone else. So the first thing to do is actually understand how you feel, what your experience was, and begin there. And when you have that, then you can step forward and begin a conversation with someone. And we're not projecting on them or assuming why they did something or what their intentions were. We can actually just genuinely ask them, what were your intentions in that scenario? I felt betrayed when this happened. I felt angry because of this. I felt sad because of this, or my feelings were hurt because of this. What were your intentions? How can we resolve this? And just genuinely asking those questions in a loving and calm way can be so nurturing to a relationship, And some of the feedback that I've been getting about this clear and conscious communication work is that people feel concerned and scared that the people in their life are going to be aggressive with them for them using this type of communication. And I want to say clearly that please only do this in times and spaces when it is safe for you to do so, and you're not going to be emotionally, physically, sexually, or spiritually abused by the person whom you're speaking to. So if that's the case, you're going to be safe in the situation, then you can begin this conversation starting with yourself without projecting onto them, without stating that they're something, they're this, they're that, they're doing this, they're messed up, they're bad, they're weird, they're whatever, right? We're not trying to use judgment while communicating with them. Is when we're using judgment and we're judging them, when we're shaming them, when we are putting upon them reasons for their behavior, it's a projection. So often that means that we're judging ourselves for something or shaming ourselves for something, or that we have that reason ourselves for this behavior, right? And so we want to try not to do those things to the best of our ability. Of course, we're human and life happens, and we all are doing the best we can to communicate to the best of our ability. But this really is a muscle that can be practiced over time. And so I really just want to inspire all of you to keep trying with your clear and conscious communication. It can be challenging. It can be really difficult. It can feel so scary in our hearts because our nervous systems are not accustomed to doing this. And the more we practice, the more we breathe into it, the easier it becomes over time, right? And so I really just want to encourage you to begin this practice with someone who, one, knows that you're doing this practice so that they can be receptive to it, and two, is a safe person who's not going to shame you or project upon you or yell at you or be abusive in any way, okay? And when you find a person like that, you might not already know who they are. Just begin to communicate with them to the best way possible. Like, hey, when you were running late to that and you didn't communicate with me, it really made me feel frustrated. I'm having a hard time juggling my time right now. And when you're late, it makes me feel sad that you don't respect me. Often we don't say those things to people, even if we feel that way. And there's nice ways to say it. We wait until it builds up until they're late 30 times. And we've never told them that it frustrates us that they're late all the time, right? So this way we can start to unload these things. We can start to open to them and be more aware of our feelings and more clearly communicate what's happening for us, you know? So I think remembering to use statements that are about your feelings. I feel this way when you do this. Also, I need these things, as in I need clearer communication when you're going to be late. I need you to, I don't know, whatever you need from the situation. So that's just some examples and some little ideas. I just want to place this seed. Just place a seed right now at the next level for this type of communication, because it is something I believe we could all work on more and that we can all practice. And we've all become very kind of lackadaisical about the online space and communication. We're all texting. We don't even talk sometimes to people that we're communicating with. And this can cause some real problems in relationships, you know? And if you decide you're done with someone, you can just say, oh, okay, I'm ghosting them. It's done. I'm blocking them and it's gone, you know? And if you're unsafe, then that's appropriate. But oftentimes we choose that path long before we've even had a conversation with them about it. So having clear and conscious communication can be really beneficial to your growth, to your clients' growth, and to the growth of your community at large, because we can use this as a way to spread the energy of clear love for everyone, that we can hold the energy of love, whether or not we're in love with someone, but just the energy of love while we're communicating. We can listen quietly while people are speaking to us and hear truly what they have to say. And then gently speak our truth as well. We don't need to yell. We don't need to push. We don't need to do those things. Although sometimes we feel angry, it's okay to be angry. It's not okay to project that anger onto other people, right? So tell me what you think of this and what came up for you as you were hearing this, and any questions that you have about clear and conscious communication and really using this as a sacred tool for healing in our community and in our lives. Sending you all so much love and thank you so much.